While the football season's been fun and it's nowhere near over, basketball season in Indiana is finally here.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Oh, we've made it. We finally got here. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, to be honest with you. It just seemed like we couldn't ever finally get through so many different barriers, so many different obstacles, but college basketball season is back, and that means your Indiana Hoosiers are in action tonight. We'll talk about a lot of things today, including those college football playoff rankings that came out last night and the difference between the ranking and the seeding. I know there's a lot of confusion there. For me too. We're going to break it all down later in the show. Plus, I'm going to give you my record prediction for Indiana basketball this season. I think we're going to have a pretty good year, but we got to talk about the season opener tonight. The Hoosiers are inside of Assembly Hall. They open up against SIU. Yes, it's a mouthful. I understand. But we now have legitimate basketball to talk about and not just a couple of exhibitions, which, again, I think are very, very valuable. Okay. We get to look now at what this team decides to do in real time, in real games, in pressure situations. And I want to start by flashing back to a year ago. I know, bear with me here. I know it's painful. But if you remember last year, right, it was teams like Florida Gulf Coast and Army and teams like that we could not handle. And a lot of those early non-conference games, we were sweating for 40 minutes. Folks, I don't want to be there today. I don't want to feel like that tonight when Indiana hits the hardwood for the first time this season. I don't want to sweat for 40 minutes. Sorry, I just don't. That's not my thing. I don't like to do that in November, not in basketball. So let's not do that against SIU, okay? Let's not do that against this team tonight, who I do think is better than what they've been in the past. We're talking about a team that's put together a couple of winning seasons in a row, but they still got a long way to go. They got a couple of good dudes now. We'll talk about them, but I just think Indiana needs to flex its muscles a little bit and, man, realize just how much talent is on this team. If you just show up and play with your talent, you're going to win games like this. You should win games like this because I think you're just so much more balanced than you were a year ago. And I think that's going to really help you in games like this. So tonight, SIU Edwardsville, the Cougars coming to town on a Wednesday night. This game will start a little bit later. It's on the Big Ten Network. Indiana favored by 28.5 points. 28.5, according to our friends over at FanDuel. So you tell me what's supposed to happen here. Indiana's supposed to dominate here, okay? No matter who plays. I know there's some question marks on who could be in, who could be out. Right, we saw a couple of things with in the first two exhibitions with Tucker and Galloway and even Carlisle and Newton. Right, I think all of those could, they're just decisions right now, and how much they play. And man, you could apply that to how much does everybody play tonight? Because if you are a team that's favored by 28.5 points, you're hoping that you are in command early and throughout this entire process, then you hope to be able to get a lot of guys in and a lot of different rotations. For this SIU Edwardsville team, though, good news is you do have a little bit of film. They already have a win under their belt. They were able to beat Westminster 95-42. It's a D2 school, I believe. So you have film. It's just not great film, right? It's film against the team that Indiana would never, ever play. And so 95-42 in that game. And the guy that you need to know, all right, the guy that you need to worry about is the one that a year ago was their leader in almost every category. And through their first game, he's their leader in just about every offensive category. Rashawn Taylor. Yes, Rashawn Taylor in game one of the season, 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. And ladies and gentlemen, he's a guard. He's a guard. He stands at 6'1", 180 pounds. The senior there at SIU Edwardsville. He's going to give Indiana fits tonight. At least he's going to try. And that's where your new guards come in. That's where Miles Rice and Cannon Carlisle and your returnees of Trey Galloway or whoever you want to put in there, and you say, hey, go stop him. Go get him. Go do your thing, right? And if you do that, you're going to be fine. He's the only one I think that can beat you on this team, and I don't even think he's good enough to beat you on his own. He's the only one that you're going to look on this team and say, wow, that dude can play, right? So that's what is coming up and walking into Assembly Hall tonight. This team will shoot a lot of threes. All right, they are going to shoot a lot tonight, will SIU Edwardsville. So you're going to get to see Indiana's new defense get put into, put to the test tonight. Because remember, we were horrific at defending the three ball a year ago. Let's see how we do tonight. Can we get off screens? Can we communicate, right? Can we get out and help on shooters, but not over help, not overextend ourselves, where as long as they just move the ball around the perimeter, they'll find an open shooter. We have to avoid that here tonight. So defensively, if you find Rashawn Taylor and if you stop them from shooting a bunch of threes, you're going to be fine. Offensively here for Indiana, I think you just do what you do. Use your big guys in Ballo and Renew. Use McKenzie and Baco. Let him have a green light. I think that needs to be the case all season long. Let McKenzie and Baco have a green light, man. If he's open, shoot. Go. Let it fly. See what happens. Your guards, have a good game. Command the offense. Command the game. Don't turn the ball over, right? I think Indiana needs to make sure they don't do that the way they did against Tennessee in the beginning of that exhibition game. And if you do all of that, you're going to be fine. Play as many guys as possible. Get in, get out, and start the season with the W. One of many W's I think Indiana will get this season, because coming up next, I'm going to give you my full season predictions for Indiana basketball 2024 and 2025. It's a perfect time to do it. I'm going to give you my full predictions, what their record's going to be in non-conference play and in conference play. That's coming up next, right here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by him. Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you the boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is a changing men's health care by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis, and they're generics for up to 95% cheaper. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works best for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers, you can bet just $5, just $5. And you're going to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. All right, the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And hey, if you want to get in FanDuel tonight, you want to get in as a new customer for Indiana, look, put $5 on Indiana to win. We're going to beat SIU Edwardsville. Put $5. If you win, FanDuel's going to give you 150 in bonus bets just like that. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. And shout out to all of my everydayers, man. Those of you on the audio or the video side, you're showing up, showing out, and I really, really do appreciate all of you. It's been so much fun, and the fact that we are over a year into this thing, and the fact that football's popping off, basketball season started, I mean, could not be a better time to be with Locked On Hoosiers. So if you're on the audio platforms and you're listening to this right now, be sure that you are following us there, that you are subscribed if it's possible, and to be sure that you are liking it if that's possible too, and have those notifications turned on so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers on your audio platforms. And then for those of you on the YouTube video side, be sure you like this video. All right, be sure you do that each and every day, first thing when you get in there. Be sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It's right there next to our Locked On Hoosiers logo, just to the right. Hit that subscribe button and be sure that you're an everydayer. And then comment down below your thoughts on Indiana's season opener game tonight against SIU Edwardsville and your season predictions for Indiana, because I'm about to give you my record predictions and we're going to have a lot of fun. So do all those things for me. And as we jump into this thing, Indiana basketball starts the season tonight. And I've got my projection for their record and what they're going to do this season. Now, I went through this, and I thought a lot about this, okay? And I went back and forth on a few different scenarios, and I went back and forth on a few different records, and I settled on this. We're going to talk about the non-con really quickly and then get into the conference record, okay? We've talked a lot about how Indiana basketball's non-conference record sucks. I mean, it's just it's boring, man. It's just not all that great. You get South Carolina, you do get a couple of games right in a preseason tournament, but other than that, man, there's just not a whole lot doing on this regular or this non-conference schedule. I have Indiana, right? You're going to beat the likes of SIUE and Eastern Illinois and Sam Houston and UNC Greensboro and Miami of Ohio, Chattanooga, Winthrop. Like, I have you beating all of those teams. Okay, I do. And you do have that game against Louisville, right? But that's in the battle for Atlantis, where there are some really good teams that Indiana could run into. And I've said several times this offseason that I think Indiana could and should win the battle for Atlantis. But we do have to remember that there's a lot of new faces on this team, and we have to remember that we're still waiting around to see if Mike Woodson has changed his style as a head coach. And so as of right now, with me not really having those answers, here's what I'm saying. In the 11 non-conference games, because I believe you're going to get 3 in the battle for Atlantis guaranteed, I have Indiana going 10-1 in non-conference play. I think you beat Louisville in that first game. I think you could, play somebody pretty good in that second round and possibly win that and then lose the third one, or lose the second one and then win the third one. I don't know what that looks like. I think you probably lose one in the battle for Atlantis. That's my prediction here, but you're going to win all your other games, right? I think you go 2-1 in the battle for Atlantis. I think you beat South Carolina outside of that, and you beat everybody else in your non-conference schedule. So in those 11 games, I have Indiana going 10-1 in non-conference play. Now in your 20 conference games for the Big Ten, which if you forgot, you played 2 of those games Coming up in December against Minnesota and Nebraska, and then you start the month of January with what is right now a top 25 Rutgers team. Remember, Indiana's a top 20 team. They're the number 17 ranked team in the country. 20 conference games. I think you're going to lose a few, obviously, but I just feel that this schedule's not all that bad. I think there's a couple of tough stretches in here. I think the road game at Iowa is tough. I think the road game at Ohio State is really tough. And squeezed in between there is Illinois, who's got a freshman that looks really, really solid. So I think in that Iowa, Illinois, Ohio State stretch from January 11th to January 17th, I think you probably lose one. Okay, I think you continue to go at Purdue. Look, January 31st, 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, depending on where you are. That is a really tough game. I'm going to call that 2. I'm going to call that 2 losses so far. I think you continue to roll, and then you've got your stretch of Michigan. And God, it's all in the same strand, though. That's the issue. Michigan, at Michigan State, UCLA, and Purdue. Okay? That's really tough, too. And remember, before that is Wisconsin and that road game at Purdue, which was your second loss this season. You're going to pick up 3 in there. You're going to pick up your 3rd in there. And there's a chance you pick up your 4th in there. My prediction is you lose more than likely at Ohio State to start in January 17th. You lose at Michigan State February 11th. You probably drop 1 of 2 against UCLA or Purdue. I'll say UCLA. We're not going winless against Purdue this year. And then, yeah, that's it, right? That's 4. I think that's what I had. I have the 1 of UCLA or Purdue. So we'll say UCLA at home, Michigan State at home, Purdue on the road, and Ohio State on the road. But I think you finished the season really strong with Penn State, Washington, Oregon, and Ohio State. So that puts Indiana 16-4 in conference play and totals at 26-5. 16-4 in conference play is strong. And this Big Ten conference is really, really strong. Folks, that's a championship level effort that Indiana would be putting out on the floor. That's a championship production that they would be putting out if they end up doing that. Will they? I don't know. I think they're good enough to. And I think 16-4 is very doable with this schedule because, man, look at some of your home games. I mean, yeah, you get Minnesota, Rutgers, USC, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, UCLA, Purdue, Penn State, Ohio State. You get some really awesome home games that we're going to have to take advantage of because look at these road games. Nebraska, Penn State, Iowa, Ohio State, Northwestern, Purdue, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and then you make the road trip out to Washington and to Oregon. So I don't think 16-4 is crazy. I think it's very doable. I think 10-1 in non-con play is doable, which will give you a 26-5 overall record. That is my prediction for Indiana basketball. As the season starts tonight, they will go 26-5 overall in the regular season. That would put them as a top 3 seed, or a 1, 2, or 3 seed, I should say, in the NCAA tournament coming up in March. So let me know your thoughts, your predictions. Too good, too low. I mean, what? Too high, too low, too many wins, too many losses, whatever. You tell me. Let me know down in the YouTube comments. You can tweet at us too at Locked On Hoosiers. Want to hear your thoughts on that and your season-long predictions for Indiana basketball. Well, coming up in the final segment of the show, Indiana football and Curt Cignetti, they're in to the college football playoff initial rankings. Plus, they got seeded in the first the first bracket that we've been able to see. Lots of confusion on that, though. What's the difference? Why were they an 8 seed, but they were the 9 seed in the bracket in the playoff? We'll talk all about that coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink alcohol, it gets converted into a toxic byproduct into the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Look, I won't lie. When they sent me some of this to try it out when they came on with us, I was a little skeptical, right? It's a little bottle, and it's like, all right, this little bottle is going to prevent me, right? It's going to make me feel better. It's going to help me with this, with a pre-alcohol thing. I just don't know. I was skeptical. I drank it before I went to a wedding that I was in, had a little fun, right? And got up and flew home the next day and felt totally normal, felt totally fine. It was the real deal. All right, it's a 3-step process. You drink the pre-alcohol for your best results. Make it the first drink of the night. Drink responsibly. Drink some water too. Get a good night's sleep. And then enjoy tomorrow. You're good to go. You're going to feel refreshed and ready to take on the day. Go to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege and use the code LOCKEDONCollege at checkout for 15% off. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is my go-to ticketing app for all things sports, music, comedy, theater, you name it, and they got it. And their new feature that they got going right now, it's called Game Time Picks, and it makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets, right? All their great features. That's the one that they've got going right now. But the ones that they always have, they're all in pricing, right? So when you toggle this feature, it's going to show your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. So the price you see is the price you pay. And the views from your seat. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy at any venue that they offer. It really is incredible. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you again for being here. Shout out to all my everydayers, man. Can't you feel it in the air when college basketball season gets started? It's unbelievable, but don't you worry, Hoosier fans. We still have a football season to talk about as well. Not everybody gets to say that right now. Get hyped up for a top 20 basketball team. Also have a top 10 football team now as the first college football playoff rankings came out. And there was a lot of confusion, and we're going to break all that down. There was a lot of confusion because Indiana, right? We were 8th in the rankings, but then they put that pretty little bracket up there and we're the 9 seed. And everybody's like, whoa. What the heck happened? What's going on here, right? We had people rioting. We had people grabbing pitchforks and torches, and it was kind of crazy. But I told you this was going to happen, right? I said that it was going to be a little confusing. And I'll be honest, it still is confusing for me because we're all learning this together. We're all figuring this out at the exact same time. This is the first expanded playoff rankings that we've ever seen. And we all got to watch it together. And so Indiana in the rankings, we are number 8. So when you watch the games on TV or you hear it referenced on radio or it's written in an article or whatever the case may be, Indiana will be the number 8 team in the country, which, sidestep for a second, can we just establish something here or acknowledge something that we're just like, yeah, Indiana's number 8, but let's talk about something else. Like, Indiana's the number 8 ranked team in the country, folks. Think about how awesome that is. It's unbelievable. And we have a game against Michigan coming up, a bye week, and here come the Buckeyes. Well, more like here come the Hoosiers to the Buckeyes. Can't wait for that, man. Got to get through Michigan first. But just want to acknowledge the fact that, we're the number 8 team in the country. So we are ranked at number 8, right? Tennessee is above us. BYU's behind us. Here's your top 12. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2. Hate seeing 2 Big Ten teams up there, but whatever. Georgia 3, Miami 4, Texas at 5, Penn State at 6, Tennessee 7, Indiana 8, BYU 9, Notre Dame 10, Alabama 11, and Boise State 12. The first 2 teams to miss out on the playoff as of right now, if it were to end today, are SMU and Texas A&M. Now, the bracket that they showed on TV and the one that if you look it up, this is the one that pops up, it looks a little bit different because of how the playoffs work, okay? The 5 highest ranked conference champions. The 5 highest ranked conference champions get the top 5 bids, right? They get those 5 bids, but they don't ultimately get the 5 highest seeds, right? Because you look at this thing, and I've got it pulled up right here. Oregon in the bracket is 1, Georgia's 2, Miami is 3, okay? BYU is 4, right? So Ohio State gets bumped. A bunch of other people get bumped, including us, because they're projected as the conference champion out of the Big 12. And then Boise State is in 12 because they're the other conference champion. You get into the playoff. But the 4 highest ranked ones get that first round bye. So that's where a lot of this is going to come through where, well, BYU's ranked 9th in the country. How'd they get a 4 seed in the automatic bye? Because they're projected to be the Big 12 champion. And whoever that ends up being, they'll be in that spot. Does that make sense? So the 4 highest ranked conference champions get to the quarters, get a first round bye. The 5th conference champion, that at-large team, right? The Boise States of the world, they're going to get in, but they're going to have to fight their way through. And then you start going through there after that, which is why, right, you just start ranking them after that. Ohio State's the next team in line. Then it's Texas is in line at 6. Then you have Penn State at 7. You had Tennessee at 8. And then Indiana at 9. So if you're going to be mad at somebody, be mad at BYU. They're the ones that are throwing the entire thing off. And as of right now, if this thing were to end today, Indiana would head to Knoxville and take on Tennessee. And look, I've seen that team. We can beat that team. I promise. Nico is not all that great. Their defense is really good, but we've played good defenses all year. I ain't worried about it. Indiana would roll over Tennessee, and that would set up a matchup in the semis or the quarters with the Oregon Ducks. Yes, the Oregon Ducks. And remember, that first round's the only games that are actually on campuses. After that, you're playing on neutral side and playing in bowl games. So hopefully that makes this a little bit easier for you. Here's the best solution that I can give to Indiana. Just go win the Big Ten. Go win the Big Ten, and you don't have to worry about all that crap. You'll be in the playoff. You'll be into the quarterfinals, have a first round bye, and you'll get to watch everybody else play in the quarters or in the first round. As much fun as that's going to be, right? As much fun as it's going to be to have playoff games on college campuses, I can't wait to see what that looks like. If you can get an invite to the quarterfinals and get a first round bye and not have to worry about it, sign me up, man. Sign me up for that. And Indiana still has a chance. You beat Michigan this weekend, and that game against Ohio State, that's a win and get to the Big Ten championship game type of matchup. That's what that is. Because of Penn State losing to the Buckeyes, it's us and Ohio State chasing Oregon. We beat Ohio State. We'll play Oregon for a Big Ten championship. And the winner of that is automatically in. The loser, you're probably going to host a playoff game, which is still pretty cool, I think. But overall, that's where we stand. First playoff rankings have come out. Lots more to go through. Lots more games to get through, too. At Indiana, just put your head down and work, man. Keep doing what we've done all season long. And if we know Curt Cignetti, I think he's going to be just fine. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Jam-packed today, man. A lot of stuff we covered for today. Be sure that you like the video on YouTube and subscribe to our channel if you have not already. Turn on notifications on your audio platforms if you're listening there as well. We'll have a full breakdown tomorrow of Indiana's basketball game against SIU Edwardsville. Season opener tonight, man. I cannot wait. I hope you're as excited as I am. Football season's rolling. Basketball season's here. It's the best time of the year to be an Indiana Hoosier. We're back tomorrow, Hoosier fans. Until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.